chance to be part of this happens briefly. The invitation is not to show how inventive and imaginative you are, but how much you can.
Hello, good evening, everyone, or whenever you're watching this. Evening, afternoon, nighttime. Let's see, I'm getting all sorts of bells and whistles popping up. So, hello, I'm tuning in or doing this live on Monday, July, what night is it? 29th. And I don't know when you're watching it right now. I have live people, but afterwards, if you tune into my YouTube channel, you might be watching this after the fact. But for those of you who don't know, my name is Deborah Hanlon. I'm a medium, and I'm a medium obviously to bring the deceased or the consciousness of the deceased back into material form, into our realm. But more so than ever, I'm really working on the living and really helping the living resurrect the deceased or dead parts of themselves. So a lot of us always talk about how tense and stressed and overwhelmed we are, and I have this unique and unbelievably humbling vantage point of being with people at one of their most weakest or vulnerable spaces, and that's usually right after the death of a loved one. And I've seen over almost the 20 years that I've been doing this, how pain and loss and vulnerability and struggle and life and all of that, I've seen how that takes people on a path and a journey. And because of that journey and that path, caused mostly by someone very close to dying, has given me the opportunity to be able to work with people on their journey and on their transformation of looking for a deeper meaning in life. So that is who I am. That is what I do. And tonight on YouTube Live, what I always do is I take time to answer your questions, and just have that conversation that you've been wanting to ask. So sometimes I'm not doing this tonight, and I'll tell you why in a moment. But sometimes I'll open up this opportunity for intuitive questions, and you can ask me personal questions. But I'm totally not doing that tonight because I had spiritual summer camp all day today. And I had an amazing group of women. A lot are tuning in now. I could see your names. And we spent the whole day working on fun activities, reconnecting to joy and lightheartedness, but also working on some really deep stuff, old stuff, childhood stuff, through a series of really fun activities. So because of that, I'm shot. I'm like a camp counselor tonight shot. So tonight I'm not going to do any personal intuitive questions. I will just take and talk about generic stuff. So if you haven't already, and I see a lot of you have, but let me know where you're tuning in from. And if this is your first time, seeing that Alexis with your cutie little Lila down there in Myrtle Beach, I saw that her little toes were in the water. Hello from New Jersey and Greenville, New York. And let's see, I saw another Hopewell Junction, Athens. Hello, Melissa. Ohio. Hello, Carla. Pam, I'm so glad to hear that. You had 2 new people coming to a gallery last week. Yes, a lot of you are mentioning that I did open our calendar tonight at 7 p.m., or my office opened it. I will let you in on a little secret. I only opened just a few dates in August because a couple of dates are still up in the air. Plus, I'm taking some time off next week. And of course, my son leaves for college. So there were not a lot of available dates opened right away. But at some point in the rest of the summer, we will probably open up appointments. So the best way to get an appointment for August at this point is to make sure you're friends with me on Intuitive Medium Deborah Hanlon on Facebook. There's 2 Deborah Hanlon pages. One is just like a regular person page, and the other is like a fan page. So make sure you like Intuitive Medium Deborah Hanlon fan page, and I think there's something on there where you can click, I don't know what it is, that will get notifications, and anytime I post last minute session appointments, we'll post it there. So that's how you do that. I know every night, every time we open up my calendar, the office gets a barrage of emails and phone calls. And a lot of times people are like super, super upset. I've been trying for months. I can't get an appointment. This is ridiculous. What's happening? This month especially was less appointments were available to begin with, like because of what I just explained. So they did go by 7:03. They opened up at 7, and by 7:03 they were taken. But I didn't open that many yet for August. So always check back. I really truly do believe when it's time it'll happen, and I know so many people get really pissed hearing that over and over. The trick is you do have to be online and ready at 7 p.m. or whatever time the office says they're opening. And then there's always people with gift certificates, and I just want to explain this, that if you purchase a gift certificate for someone, you have to go through the usual booking scenario, only because, and I want you to all think of my logic here, is that if I gave precedence to people with certificates, or I gave a date specifically with people with certificates, then everyone would just buy themselves or a family member a certificate. So that wouldn't work. So twice a year, usually at Mother's Day and Thanksgiving, like Black Friday, I usually open up the gift certificate option. And that time, that's when you actually are assigned a time and a date to come in. So you're guaranteed an appointment. But I only do that twice a year because it's too difficult to manage, So if you have a gift certificate and you're trying really hard to get an appointment, we're not blowing you off. We're not saying, oh, we don't care. It's not it at all. It's just that if I honored gift certificates, then everyone would just wind up doing that. And then we'd be back to square one with me being booked out for like 3 years in advance. So this way, every month, everybody does get an opportunity to get an appointment. And again, I'm always like, so grateful that this is the situation that people are saying, I'm trying to get in with you and I can't, and this is bullshit. And they get really, really mad. And I'm grateful for that position to be in, because it means that you have wanted to sit with me, which is such an honor. So I'm not taking that lightly at all. It's just, there's a lot more of you than there are of me at this point of time. So that's that. Let's see. Summer camp. I'm seeing everybody tune in from summer camp today. This was really a wonderful experience. I have one more planned on August 16th. It's a Friday. I only take a limited amount of women, or men and women. I keep opening it up to everybody. This particular go around, we only had all women, but it's open up to men as well. It was fun. I really enjoyed it. I'm exhausted as they are as I'm reading. But it was good. It was good. I think we all need that connection to our childhood in a positive way. not always our negative childhood stuff. And I'm just going to remind everybody on Facebook that you can stay tuned in watching me on Facebook over there. That's fine. But I don't look over here for any questions. So I only will take questions of people who are tuning in straight in front of me through YouTube. So, Jennifer, oh my gosh, good luck. We're going to send you and Emma a ton of information. No, I'm not going to send you a ton of information. I'm going to send you a ton of good energy, is what I was trying to say. So I just want to talk about a few things before I even start your questions. So hang on right there. Oh my God, Vicky, I see you on here. Hello. If anyone has promotional items that they need, I highly recommend using her shop, because it is individually owned. It's not one of these big giant companies that, they're local. They're local in the Albany area. So look up My Shop Angel for promotional products. That is a plug, and she did not ask me to do that. I literally use her, and I do believe in supporting local businesses and women in business, and that is a woman-owned business by Vicky. So hello to see you here tonight. So I want to talk about a couple of things. Let me check off my little notes here. So in planning summer camp, I always have a big generalized like picture or view of what I want to do with people. And I break that down into exercises, and things come to me, like, as I'm sure any of you who are creative or whatever, they come to me sometimes in the shower, they come to me as I'm making my bed, they come to me in a yoga class, they come, just information and ideas come to me. And I couldn't figure it out. And that always happens with all my classes. Something's missing. And I know it'll come to me. It'll come to me either when I'm standing right in front of people, and I'll know exactly what is kind of needed for the room, or it'll come to me beforehand. So yesterday, Sunday, I knew that I was going to have a whole day of cleaning and preparing for summer campers. And I was like, what am I going to need? Because I don't want to be tired going into summer camp. I want to be like excited. And sometimes when you're planning and planning and planning, you're so drained by the time it actually comes to be that it kind of takes the air out of the balloon. And I want to be able to get stuff out of the programs as well. When you're teaching it, you're really always learning, of course. So I'm thinking to myself, what do I need? And I knew I needed some yoga and meditation and just really being centered. So I signed up for 2 yoga classes yesterday morning and was joined by Jack's girlfriend's mom, which was really, really exciting to have that time with her. It was 2.5 hours of yoga for me that really got me grounded and focused. And I felt like I took care of myself. My body felt great. My mind felt clear. It was a great start to yesterday. But in Shavasana, which is that final pose in yoga, the one we all love the most, the yoga teacher played a song. And it really wasn't a song. It was a man talking and there was music behind him. And it pulled me in so strongly and so intently and hit me so profoundly that I'm like, oh my God, this is what was missing from the summer camp. Now, the summer camp wasn't revolving around this piece of music at all. I started the day off with it, but it got me where I needed to be for summer camp. And I want to read, if I can get it real quick, a piece of it today, a piece of the lyrics that the whole thing was just, I don't know, just hit me. And it's called Burgs, Burgs, if you want to look it up, by a group called Mount Wolf. I've never heard of them before until this yoga class. And I ran up to the teacher afterwards and I was like, I need to know what that was because I need to play it again. And part of it was in an audible and I just couldn't hear the whole thing. So I needed to know what the heck was that. I couldn't find it on iTunes at first, but I finally did. So it's Burgs, Burgs by Mount Wolf. I highly recommend you just listen to it. See, maybe it resonates with you, maybe it doesn't. But the whole thing resonates. But the piece that really got me, and don't forget, I'm usually talking to the physically living about what happens when we pass and where those who have passed have gone, which I always describe as where we go is really the same exact source of what we've come from. So we in the physical world are kind of the midway point between birth and death, which is called life. And the line in the song was, and you have to hear him say it, obviously with music behind him, it sounds really cool. To me, it sounded really cool. But he says, when you came here with a sense of awe and wonder, dying to just see what it's about. It's like, what would it be like to be down there, to be part of it? And you came here with a sense of wonder, and somehow the wonder of it wasn't enough. And we stopped wondering and started to wonder only about ourselves. And in your wondering about yourself, you forgot what you came here for, what you came to be a part of. I love that. And he also has a line that says, to be human, it takes a lot of consciousness to be human. And that line hit me because I'm thinking we're always talking about our consciousness, how we're supposed to be while we're here, we're supposed to think positively, which you all know who know me know I'm not Miss Polly Positive, and I don't believe in think positive and life will be great. It doesn't work like that. But we're always taught to like put our mind in the right space, and that is correct and accurate. And I'm always talking about the consciousness of the deceased. My entire book is about the consciousness of the deceased and how we can adopt their consciousness when we now here in physical form versus having to wait. But the concept of being human and coming here before we get here, and how much consciousness and mindfulness and awareness it comes just to become human, was a mind-blowing thought to me, because I was reconnected in that line to that place in me that knows that I did know what I was coming here for. And you did too. You know what your lifetime was going to have for you, what was in store for you. You knew that. It took so much energy to create you, to come here, to keep this sense of wonder, to go through the experiences you're going through. And that's it, to go through them. And when you put it in those terms, which are so simplified, which is what he was also saying in this song, is that like our minds are messy, is one of the lines. And that once we make our minds messy, we complicate everything. I would have said we complicate the shit out of life, but he put it much more eloquently. But we complicate things. And we have forgotten that we're here on this journey, that we knew what we're asking for. We knew what we were getting. And to not lose that sense of wonder and awe, and the fact that we're a part of something much bigger than just ourselves. Because I know we all, myself included, big time, get stuck in the, well, why me? Why did that happen to me? Why didn't such and such happen to me? Why does that person seem to have everything so easy and I don't? And we forget that. And that's what they're talking about, is that we start to focus in on ourselves instead of what we're part of. And at summer camp and in all my classes and at galleries and everything that I get to do in my life, I am reminded that the human struggle is tough. It sucks. It's tough. And I'm like Debbie Downer now. But it's not meant to be easy. I don't know any of you out there who are tuning in. Not one of you, any of those that I do actually know because I've had a session with you, or because you've come to classes, or you've reached out to me either through intuitive questions or just chatting on Facebook. I don't know anyone who's had this like picture perfect, smooth transition of life. And was talking to Greg yesterday and preparing for this summer camp about how lucky we are, and how the problems that he and I and we and our family and extended families, the problems we have are good ones. They're good problems, because you can hear someone else's problems and go, oh my God, how are they handling that? But someone could hear our problems and say, oh my God, how are they handling that? So tonight, today, whenever you're watching this, I want you to reconnect to that place in yourself that knows what you're in for, that knows you don't like certain aspects of physical life right now because maybe someone died, or several people died, or if there's been financial ruin or betrayal or sick child, or my God, that hundreds of thousands of scenarios that pop up in our lives. And if you flip it into, I knew this was coming and I really don't like it, but here I am. Here I am in it. And reconnect to this bigger picture that we're all in that space in life. It looks differently. The players are different. The scenarios are different. But the pain and the stress and the frustration is all the same. And that is something that really, to me anyway, calms me down, refocuses me. It doesn't push it away. It doesn't tell me, oh, Deb, why are you complaining about such and such? I don't want to take away the right for anyone to complain or feel by any means, but to remember that there's such a bigger picture. And in other words, if I said you came here and you chose everything, how would that change your perception of what you're going through? And the things that you are stressed and worried about, are just things we're stressed and worried about. The really, 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 really dumb little ones to the really, 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 really big, gigantic ones. They're not, it's not all there is in this lifetime in your life. So I want you guys to think about that. You may have your responses and reactions. I welcome those responses and reactions. What also got me to think about this is I'm sure a lot of you have heard, especially in the Northeast, about this man who accidentally left his children in his car and then they wound up passing and how distraught he is. And I was looking on social media where people were absolutely instantly, what's wrong with this man? How could he not know that? I've never forgotten my kids. And I want, instead of, we don't know the story. We don't know the man. We don't know if he's the greatest human that ever walked the face of the earth or the worst. We know nothing. And I want you to all kind of just take a moment before you respond and or react to someone or something, is to remember that component, that you're going to have a visceral reaction, whether it's complete compassion and sadness or complete disgust and horror. Whatever your reaction is, it's fine and normal, but be mindful of what that reaction is and realize that it's just that visceral, it's touching old parts of yourself for whatever reasons, and then stop and realize you don't have all the information. You don't know. And that really changes things. It changes this incessant global need to blame and react and have an opinion, and you still can feel a certain way about that terrible situation, but do it in an informed, spiritually educated way. Spiritually educated meaning, hang on a second, I'm one person that doesn't have the facts here. And how would life look if that were happening to me? You know, again, it's compassion. We talked about compassion a few weeks ago. And it's just, it takes mindfulness. It takes a moment of pause, which I don't think we all do. I know I don't. I am a reactor. And it's really, really, really so important to not react to things, only to respond, and remember that you don't have all the information. You don't know everything that's the whole picture, and we don't need to. And that's the good thing, is that we don't need to. So on that note, you know, I love that people like you are tuning in, because if you weren't interested in seeking and learning more, you wouldn't be tuning in. You would have turned me off already. You would have switched to something else. So I want you all to also really tap into that fact that if you're listening to this, there is something deeper in you that you're craving and you want more something. I don't know what it is. You might not know what it is. But you want more something to evolve yourself, and you're gathering information, and then you're taking away, saying either Deb's the friggin' idiot, she doesn't know what she's talking about, or wow, I'm in line with this, or anywhere in between. So kudos for all of you for totally tuning in and listening. Mallory, no, that is not what I played for you at the class. What did I play for you guys? Ooh, I already don't remember what I played. I taught my final Reiki Master class. I will not teach Reiki Master. I've created my own energy system of healing that started from Reiki, and it's called my Energy Transformation Awareness class, which you all hear me talk about all the time. I have to think about what I played that day. I can't think of it right now. Maybe I have it written down on my notes. I'll remember it in a minute, Mallory. But that is not it. But you'll love this one, I'm sure. There's a little fruit fly in here. Fantastic. Hello, Kim, my yoga buddy. Let's see. Eileen, I will give you her information, unless, Vicky, if you want to put your website up, you could go ahead and do that, because Eileen needs to order pens. Maria, you're already ahead of me with speaking to compassion, of course. Nicole, it's so relevant. I've been thinking about learning from every lesson because I know I'm meant to experience it all. It's all meant to be. I've been reminded lately and actually accepting it. It's pretty amazing um, when we do accept it or surrender to it. I always have a problem with the word accepting it. And that's totally my own issue because acceptance in my mind always means that it's almost like I'm a victim to it. And my God, sometimes we're a victim to life and sometimes we can't do anything. But I don't like that feeling. So I like to use the word surrender. It's just a matter of semantics, of course, but surrender means like I gave the permission for myself to surrender to it versus something external made me accept it. And that's just my own perception of the words, but makes such a difference when you accept and or surrender to what is, even when it's terrible, especially when it's terrible. And then to really look at others who are going through so much and you're like, okay, hang on a second. Is this really, really as big as I'm making it? And the answer might be yes, but at least ask yourself the question. Oh, Sheila, we'll send you good energy. You need your furniture picked up. Where are you? Let me know where you're moving now. For those of you who have been to the center or come to the center, you'll notice a big Indian drum at the center, and that was gifted to me by Sheila many moons again. Oh, she left. She said she can't stay online. She just wanted good energy. So we're sending good energy. Let's see. Yes, Mallory's saying everyone should take ETA. It is life-changing. ETA is the Energy Transformation Awareness class. It is my most intense. I almost want to say the word horrible. It's horrible going through it because I really, really extract some stuff, some old shit, energetic shit that's in your system, in your consciousness, the stuff you're aware of, and more importantly, the stuff that you're not aware of. I have developed many techniques to be able to help safely and gently and blah, dredging up your own stuff in an environment that is just completely supportive. So that's my intense stuff. That's in September. It's 6 weeks long, and that's my last one for 2019 that I'm teaching in September. So look up on my website for that information. Sandra, yes. I think your words, Sandra, I'll add them. Let's see. I don't know if nope, I'm not going to add words because it junks up with all this. Well, let me go through all these things that are going on, and then I can get rid of them. Meditation is this Sunday night at 7 p.m. So you can come. You can attend virtually just like this, or obviously in person at the center. So I'm going to get rid of that one. There's a gallery at the center also Saturday morning at 10 a.m. I have a few spaces left for that. That's a small one. The ones at the center are much more intimate. And that starts at 10 a.m. And you can get all that information on my website. Then Saturday afternoon, it's such a busy week, I have a book signing at the Barking Goose Book and Bar. Every time I say that, in Newburgh, at 2 to 4, I believe it is. And that's a new place. I haven't even been in there yet, but they sell books. There's food. There's a bar. It's literally right off Route 84, literally right off the exit. So that's on Saturday. So come down to meet me if you haven't already. Come say hello. Maybe grab something to eat and drink while you're there. And then the next Spiritual Adult Summer Camp is August 16th. It's a Friday. So that's a limited number of that. And right now, that's the only one I have planned. If there's a waiting list that develops, I will think about adding a date at some point in August, but it would most likely be last minute. Okay, so... Oh, Jennifer, you're pregnant. Oh my God, that's so exciting. No, it's not. It's intense and emotional, but not, no, that baby is chosen to be with you in this time and space. And, it might actually help the emotions move through quicker, but it most positively 100% will not harm the baby. And if anything, it's going to help because we're extracting and getting rid of old stuff that you're hanging on to versus keeping it into the cellular DNA, which then is transferred to that little one. So no, absolutely Perfect timing, actually. Yes. See, Mallory's even saying it will be amazing. It really will be amazing. Kathy, yes, you can come again to Camp with Friends. You absolutely can. Greg is reminding me and for all of you to click thumbs up because YouTube likes thumbs ups and it is good for some algorithm. We even Googled why do we need to have thumbs up pressed on YouTube, and I forget what the answer is. I think it just shows interaction or something like that. So there's that. Kevin, hello, I see you. Let's see. Oh, Amber, I like that. In the eye of the storm this week, instead of letting the negativity of the weather weigh me down, I'm using the charge of electricity to fuel me. Keep plugging forward was written in my book by you. That is fantastic. And sometimes that's all we need is a little like one line to keep ourselves focused. And that's key. Oh, hey, Jael, how are you? Denise, what if you know that you wouldn't be able to make one of the ETA classes? You do absolutely have to attend all the classes. So if you have to miss one, then I would say wait until the next time around. I need to have full commitment to all the hours that are put in because every single lesson builds on through a string in a certain sequence, in a certain way, and the dynamics of the group are so important. So if you absolutely can't make one of them, just it's not the time, and the universe is saying, okay, not yet, and we'll pick it back up probably in the spring, late spring of 2020 is when I'll probably run it again. Okay, so let me just say, hold on one moment, please. I'm reading my notes. Yeah, I got them. So I'll open up to your questions. Just remember, again, this is not intuitive personal questions. It's just more stuff that you want to know, stuff that you might want insight or guidance, generalized stuff, not personal. Thoughts on whatever. It's your night, it's your time. So if you have questions or stuff about my book that you'd like clarified, by all means, pop it up on the screen there. While I take a big, huge sip of water. It was hot today, and we were in and out. I think we did well while I'm waiting for your classes. I think we did your questions. I think we did well going in and out, staying into the cool weather, going out into the heat, and back and forth. So I enjoyed thoroughly putting together summer camp. I really, really did. It was it's always this whole process when I'm putting a class together because I have to do the class before I can give it. So then of course I'm like always in the throes of introspection and how is this perceived? How is that perceived? What do I need to change here? How is blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's maddening at times. I'd love to just be like, I don't really care and I just want to be a total asshole in the world. I'd like to be that. Not saying that I'm not that, but I might be an asshole, but then I'm always thinking about it later. Could I have done this differently? Is there a better way about this? So that's just how I roll. All right, I see a question here. Elizabeth writes, does your soul know when it's time to depart? Yes, I do believe the soul knows when it is time to depart. We know deep down inside of us, we know when our time is. Because if we came here kind of knowing the plan, what consciousness and life we were stepping into, when we pass and leave is a part of that plan. So we do know. I'm going to say that this next part, because that can freak people out, because I know a lot of people, myself included, I've shared this before, but a lot of people have a sense or a possible fear of when their time is, when they're going to go. And I want to speak to that because sometimes that puts fear in us thinking, oh my gosh, my soul knows and I know that means I'm going to pass. Well, you are going to pass eventually, all of us will, but the actual time and date. But many years ago, I sounded like a storyteller many years ago. Like, what the hell? Anyway, I was convinced, I had 3 children, and I was convinced that I was going to die around 32, 33 years old. And I was like, I knew it with every fiber of my being. um, that I was going to die. I just knew it, and that was freaking me out because I thought, oh my God, these poor kids, they're such babies. They were, I don't know, 2, 4, and 6, somewhere around there, and they were young, and I thought, oh my God, like, how do I know I'm gonna die. I know I'm going to. I know it. I know it. I know it. And then at that time, 32 hits and I make it to my 33rd birthday, and 33 hits and I make it through my 33rd. And I look back and I'm like, wow, I really was convinced that I was going to die. I like knew it. Then all of a sudden it was very clear to me that I did die. The old Deb died in those 2 years, and the new me, the person who I could no longer be this person that I was all those years before. I was internally always nervous, always inadequate, uh, always wanting to protect a few particular people, um, and, you know, make things right for them. Oh, they had such a terrible life, so I'm going to be really a good girl so that they don't have to suffer and struggle. Kind of like I listened and I kind of did, even if it didn't feel right to me, I listened to other people, even though I knew very firmly that something wasn't right. And that person at 32 and 33 years old died. And that was the time of my life that I first started my own journey of a divorce and waking up to who I really am and what I really want, and recognizing my life as coming to be because I of a consciousness that was kind of stuck in an old story, in an old tape. And I did. I died at 32, 33. She died and she was done. She was gone. And 32, 34, 33, 34, I had to reborn again, put myself back together into a new way. And it was terrible. It was a terrible and amazing time at the same time. So this is an addition to your question. So I do believe there is death at all times. There's death of my day already. You know, what was already gone on from today has now died. It's past. It's in the past. And I'm moving through life and consciousness just as you are listening to me. And I'm moving through the present, moving into the future. And there's parts of us that are passing with every time we're moving forward. So I want everyone to start thinking of death in those terms of a movement forward versus a final cut and done, because that changes everything. It's 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 movement, if nothing else, versus stagnation, dead, done, gone. That is not what death is. Death is something in one way is over and is past, but it has moved into something and morphed into something new. Heather, my best relaxation techniques that I use. Yoga, absolutely yoga. Yoga is really important. We went over a couple of breathing techniques today at summer camp, and I was telling the summer campers, the spiritual summer campers, that, and I'm sure you're familiar with this, is Ujjayi breath. If you do take, for those of you listening, do take yoga, you probably have heard your yoga instructors say, use your Ujjayi breath. They also call it, sometimes people call it Darth Vader breath, ocean breath. And that is my favorite way to meditate now, because it really does quiet my thinking mind when I'm using that breath. It's a certain sound that you make out of your throat. And for me, I'm so focused on making that sound that I'm not focusing on all my thoughts. So I'll try to make the sound here so you can hear it if you don't know what it is. You could also look it up. It's let me just spell it. I believe it's UJJAI. No, AYI or UJAYI. You got that? But it sounds like this. I'm going to giggle. Hold on. So I don't know if that transfers over through sound for all of you guys. You can look it up to hear it better, or come to my meditation classes because I am going to start utilizing different breathing techniques. But that one really does help me big time. Okay. Oh, Maria, one of my favorite children's books of all time is exactly what you're talking about. It is called The Little Soul and the Sun. And it is about that. It's about two little souls that meet before they're about to come into life, and that they're making the agreements of how they're going to interact down on earth. And they're talking about this contract they're kind of entering into. And it's such a beautiful, sweet little story because it's about this. You have to remember that we made this contract, because there might be times when I have to do something really bad to you for this life to happen. And they're saying, well, remember. So it's super, 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 it's super, super sweet. So it's The Little Soul and the Sun by Neil Donald Walsh. It's one of my books on my book list on my Amazon store. So it's on there listed as well. So if you wanted to look through, I'm sure Greg will, if he hasn't already, he'll post the Amazon link or the Amazon store link or whatever it is. And then you can find it through there. Jackie, yep. Lesson learned. You're going in circles. Yep. Oh, my house cold? I have a fan blowing on me down here, nice little quiet fan. And I did have the air conditioning on really, really cold all day today because the campers were in and out all day. So yes. Yeah, oh, you couldn't hear it. So you guys all just watched me do this. That's fantastic. Look it up. Ujayyi. Ujayyi breath. And then there's probably a video on it somewhere. Or just come to meditation. Obviously, if you are going to come to meditation virtually, it won't transfer, so you're not going to be able to hear it. Oh, Sharon, you're so cute. I'm going to add that here. Sharon is saying, best self-care, take any course by Deb, best summer camp ever, star counselors, Michelle and Taylor. If your toes weren't going to be in the sand, you'd be at the next one with Kathy. Oh, good. I'm so glad. I'm glad you enjoyed it. But Sharon, you bring joy everywhere you go, which, by the way, you left your candy bin and we're bringing it to the center. So the next time, Wednesday, we'll see you Wednesday at the center for the Yoga Stories classes. So make sure you take your Smarties, which of course I dipped into the Smarties. Thank you very much, because that's how I roll. Oh, some of you did hear it. Good. See, it did sound like Darth Vader. Good. That's good. And Kim, did you hear me doing it at camp? Not camp. Oh God, help me. At yoga the other day, because I really have been practicing keeping it with, my breathing so that it keeps me focused. Let's see. Yeah, we had today in summer camp, I had blindfolds on you guys. I had you guys going through mazes. We did meditative walk hike. We burned shit. We did have a full day. We meditated. We did breathing. We did arts and crafts. We got a lot in, actually. So it's fun, but it's also cathartic in a way. My summer camp, I'm not having as deep, like dredging up all your old stuff, because I'm trying to keep it light and fun. We're throwing bean bags at cornhole. You know what I mean? We're doing that too. So we don't need to be, really dredging up our stuff. But energy transformation, awareness, oh boy, that is 100% the deep work, the really, really deep work. And you will be crying and slobbering and everything, just terrible for a really, really great purpose. I promise it'll be very life-changing. Let's see. Okay, Sandy. How can one control meltdowns while grieving? You can't. You can't. You have to have them. Nobody wants them. You just, there's no way around it, and there's no healthy way around it. Let's put it that way. So if you are trying to stuff it down, all those meltdowns, they're going to come out sideways and somewhere else on the wrong person. It'll come out, we'll stuff it with shopping or food or drugs or alcohol or gambling or whatever. You'll stuff it with something else. So grieving is the worst. It is the worst because it is the truest act of lack of control, because when you grieve something, it means you cannot fix it. And I wish there was like this magic thing, but there isn't. It's a terrible, terrible, terrible thing to go through as a human being. And it's a really long process. And I hate using that word because the word process sounds cliche, but it is. And there's no way around it. What I can tell you is that, and not now, if you're experiencing a recent passing, this does not apply to you right now. But what will happen when, that's literally different from every person. But what will happen is that transformation process I was explaining earlier, that grief will have put you on a path. You're going to need answers. You're going to want answers. You're going to want the way out. And that is what you do for grieving, is you find the way out, not to cease it and to stop it, but to process so much. And that'll lead you back to the very beginning of your life. That's the part of my work that I love the most, working with people, because mediumship absolutely can take an edge off of, so that you absolutely know that they on the other side are okay. But then what happens? And that's exactly why my center was started, is that many years ago I was just doing readings, and I do way more readings then than I even do now, just because I could. And what would happen is someone would leave my office after a reading and they would feel better. They would definitely feel like, okay, at least I know they're okay. And then I'd wonder, now what? Now what happens? People would contact me, what do I do now with this? And what do I do with this? And this is happening. And it started to evolve for me as well, because I don't want to just leave people hanging after a reading, because you're going to want so much more self-work and introspection. And that's the best gift a death will give us here, is life, our life. And it's a really shitty path to get it. Nobody wants it, but I can promise you that you will see a much bigger picture down the road, even after this terrible tragedy that's happened. So keep doing what you're doing. You're obviously already seeking because you're on here, and that's a hard one. Okay, Laura, tell us about your first experience with your gift. My first, I'll tell you the first one that I realized this is what it is, because, and I wrote about this in my book. So for those of you who read this or heard me say it, you'll get like, oh God, here she goes again. But the first time I realized what was happening to me was about 4 months after the birth of my son. I had a funeral to attend. It was a family member's mother-in-law. So I wasn't related to the person who passed. And I went to the service, obviously to pay my respects to the family, but also to really help my family member who also had a young child. And they kind of, you needed somebody hands-on with her little 4-year-old at the time, 3.5-year-old at the time. So I was there with my infant son and their son. And the whole ride up, it was in Buffalo, which is 7 hours drive from where I live. And the whole ride up, I kept having these thoughts and feelings about the person. Her name was Barbara, who had passed. And I was wondering why I was like thinking so much about her. Now, again, I knew her, but I wasn't like close to her. I met her 3 times, and she was this family member of mine, mother-in-law. So I kept having all these thoughts. Long drive up, a lot of time to think. And I get there, and I'm in their home the night before the wake, and everyone's in a room, and there's a picture of her with all her grandchildren up until that point right here, and I was in a chair, and there was like a shelf or a bookcase, and a picture was right here, and something kept telling me, look at my face, look at my face. And I'd been getting stuff, like information from her that I'm like, why would she tell me that? Like someone would say, like, I wonder where Ma kept her old blankets. And I'd hear bottom drawer left side. And I'd be like, I don't know, it was in the bottom drawer left side. And it was there. So I was like, holy shit, that's weird. I've never been in this woman's house before. So anyway, I'm back at this picture. I'm now hearing, look at my face. Every night I know about my face. Every night I know about my face. So I kept looking at the picture like, what is wrong with me? Like, I thought I was going nuts. And I'm looking now deeper at the picture to see, is there something on her face? Because I keep hearing, look at my face, let them know every night about my face. And I'm looking, I'm like, oh my God, Deb, you are losing it. And I had just had this baby 4 months earlier. So I thought, okay, you have some sort of hormonal postpartum something going on. And then all of a sudden, third time, look at my face, I know about my face. And I'm like losing it. And all of a sudden, family member walks through the door and they point to that picture, the room of people that were there. And everyone else ignored him. And he had said, see that picture right there? And no one really kind of addressed it. Like, see that picture right there? And he points to this picture. So now I'm like, yeah, I see it. What? And he said, I kiss her face every night before I go to bed. And that was the moment, I get chills every time I tell the story. That was the moment where I'm like, holy shit. I don't know why I can hear her. I don't know why she's picking me, but she wants him to know that she knows that. And that was the moment where I go, oh my gosh, I got to pay attention. So for the rest of that weekend, I was just paying attention to my thoughts. And thankfully I felt safe where I could say stuff like, I know this is crazy, but blah, blah, blah. And it was all her. And I thought it was just her that I could do this with. And then I just started practicing bringing her through. And then over time, it just kind of developed into, let me see if I can do this for so-and-so and so-and-so and friends of friends. And that is literally how it grew. So crazy, crazy, crazy time. Very crazy time, actually. Okay, Teresa, that's more of a specific question that you're asking. If you could tell if all your family have passed are at peace, but I could tell you in a generalized sense that everyone who passes, they've got the good spot. They're at peace, no matter how they've passed, no matter what their beliefs were or were not here, no matter how they acted or behaved here, they are at peace. And there's a much longer reason why. Sometimes people don't like to hear that certain people are at peace. But all that's in my book too, which is on Amazon. Okay. Yes, Kim, you need to get your Darth Vader breathing on for sure. Let's see. Marissa, good. I'm glad your dogs enjoyed the bubbles. Kristen, good question. What if you are too numb inside to grieve? Yes, I think we can all relate to that. Numb is a feeling. So as long as you're addressing the numbness as a feeling, then that will help, because I know numb. I hate the numb feeling. Numb is always like scary to me, because it's sort of like, oh God, like, no, I'm not even registering this. I'm not even allowing myself to register it. But just by acknowledging the numbness, like I said, that is a feeling. So we first acknowledge that. And that too will break. I call that also go mode in the book. I say you're just in go mode, and it's just like, I've got to keep going, and can't think about it. And either you have people to take care of, or life and work and stuff you have to keep doing. And we're thrown into go mode. Also, sometimes, especially parents, I mean, everyone, but parents who have had children pass, explain and express how they can't even go there, because they're afraid that if they really go to the depth of their grief, that they will never come back, that they will literally snap, mentally, emotionally snap so bad that they'll never come back from that, which will not happen. but it feels like that, which also then creates that numb feeling. So numb is a feeling, and that will break. It will break over time. The more time you give yourself to be numb, to be angry, to be sad, to be grieving, to be totally happy, to whatever it is, and this is for everyone, not even just grief. We actually talked about it today at camp, at spiritual summer camp, about anger. Especially women were kind of taught, especially earlier on, we were kind of taught that not to be angry, you should be obedient, you should be a good little girl, you should listen, you should follow rules, and that anger is not nice. And anger, as I said today at camp, if we weren't supposed to get angry, we wouldn't have been given that emotion to express and to use. It's just we need to use it in a way that we don't feel bad about it. So every emotion that you feel, just always give yourself permission to feel it. And that will help loosen it and make it not stay longer. You know, when people tell you, like, don't get angry, don't get angry. Well, that's going to just set a firestorm, an eruption up. So if you're saying, like, you can allow yourself to be angry, that will deflate it a bit, actually. Janine, that's a great question too. When a loved one in a coma, can they hear you? And why do they shed a tear? How soon can a loved one come through after they pass? So how soon can a loved one come through? Could be right away. Literally could be instantaneous. And it also could take time to be able to hear. It depends on the person's personality. For me as a medium, every single medium may be different in our answer on this. But I have heard people literally instantly once they've passed. I have heard people absolutely in a coma, they can always hear you. And I typically hear from them on the other side. I would say 50% of the cases, if people are in a coma, their bodies are still alive, but their spirit has crossed over. So a lot of times they, in spirit form especially, they can hear everything and they're very present. So people in a coma, never underestimate what they can hear and the energy they can feel in the room. So if there's like arguing going on, which happens a lot because it's usually in a tense and emotional situation for family members and friends, try to take it outside because they are most likely aware of it. So did I get everything? So they can hear you. Why do they shed a tear? That could be different for everyone. It could be that they're sad. It could be their acknowledgement. It could be just a function of their body releasing. So it's hard to say on that one. It would differ with each scenario. Barbara, yes. I just said your name. Everyone's like, what? What'd you say? What'd you say about me? Is intuition and having the gift the same? I think that's what you're asking, Laura. Intuition, everybody has an intuitive self. If you have sight, ears, scent, nose, touch, taste, all that stuff, you also have an intuition. It's another sense. So everyone has that. I am teaching mediumship. Tomorrow night is my final one in a 4-class series. And I will be offering that one soon again in September. But everybody has the ability to tap into something larger. And a big part of that is suspending your ego, suspending who you are and who we think we are, your identity, in other words, and suspending it, putting it aside and coming from a whole different space. So that skill takes skill, that gift. I always feel like awkward calling it a gift because I feel like, oh yes, I've got this gift. It's amazing. So I don't like that feeling at all. It's function of being human. It's the way my brain works. But the skill comes in deciphering messages, in really, really getting out of the way. So a lot of times in readings, you'll hear me say, oh my God, I got too involved in that, or I got too close to that. Usually when I cry during a reading, I'll go, oh, I got too close. Meaning my Deborah self, my human self didn't get totally out of the way to be the channel. And I'm like half in and half out of my body, if that makes sense. So they're one and the same, but the gift comes from how to give messages, how to hear people, both here on this side and the other side. You, Maria, you huff purgatory? You always wondered about the concept? It was a typo, so I can't quite totally understand that question. So type it again. Oh, wait, you did. The concept of purgatory has always intrigued me. Why do you think the Catholic Church created the idea? I get heaven and hell, but why purgatory? At one point I did know like the historical sense of purgatory, but I completely have forgotten that information. But it's definitely something that could be Googleable. My opinion of it, I believe, I believe me, again, this is me and religion and Catholic Church, and I believe in all religions, and I'm not against any single one of them, nor am I all for any single one of them. I do believe that it's a fear tactic to get people to behave, because if you tell people there's something much bigger than yourself that's in charge of you, and if you anger it, then you're going to suffer forever. You're more likely to go, oh, okay, what do I have to do? I've got to help me get this right. And so in my opinion, the concept of purgatory does a really good idea. It's a really good thing of like, oh shit, I don't want to be like spending eternity like twiddling my thumbs. So let's see. I think that purgatory is this time now, like in human form. Being here is the purgatory. It's sort of like we're waiting this out. It feels like forever, in a sense, not totally. Because I also think this could be heaven. I also think this could be hell as well. Okay. Oh, Sandy, that's beautiful. Thank you so much for that comment, for sure. Let's see. Marge, you've been looking for paperwork for 2 weeks today. I heard my dad say, look in the back room, and there it was. That's a great example of you getting out of the way. Like I was talking about a moment ago, a lot of times when we hear look in the back room, being in the way would be like, it's not in the back room. I've checked there already. God, it's not back there. Like you just you think it's your own thoughts. You think it's your own voice. Even if you hear these things in your own voice, I hear everything your loved ones say in my own mind's voice for the most part. So that getting in the way is not listening to it. So when we get out of the way and we go, oh, back room? Huh? Yeah, let me see. That's a good example of you getting out of the way and listening to the information. I used to love St. Anthony so much. The whole St. Anthony thing where like if you pray to St. Anthony to find something, you'll find it. And I used to like test it because I'd be like, okay, where is such and such? And I could feel where something is, or like, no, it's not going to be in this room. So I used to do that since I'm a kid for a very long time. And I like so much believed in St. Anthony. Thanks, Janine. Always need that. Do our pets visit us once they've passed? Hello, Annette. I still haven't forgotten about your quiz, by the way. Your, not quiz, but you know what I'm talking about. I just have not sat down to be able to like actually give good answers yet. So I will. I didn't forget about it unless it's too late. Tell me if it's too late. But yes, our pets can absolutely visit us for sure. No doubt. Let's see. Oh, Annette, you found it. Were you always, Kit, were you over here? So Annette, you did. You found your way over to YouTube. For those of you who are just on YouTube, if you click the bell icon somewhere on your pages, you'll be notified when I come on live. And I don't come on a lot. Like it's always Monday nights at 8:30. So it's not like you're going to keep getting all these notifications from my YouTube site. So that's the best way that way you won't miss this. This is also always, you can look on this on my YouTube channel, which I have a ton of videos on answering a lot of these little questions. So later, if you want to scan through all of my YouTube channel topics that I've done for years and years, answering stuff about the afterlife and reincarnation and our pets and what's heaven like and all of that, that is all on my website for sure. Let's see. So Kim, Jack, I have to ask Jack about St. Anthony moment. I totally am going to ask him now. That's pretty cool that there is a St. Anthony moment with him. So yes, my brain is, my brain drained? Yeah, my brain is always drained. Yeah, I'm totally exhausted. It's been a really long day. We've been up and at 'em since, 6 a.m. So we're a lot of teaching today, but I get so energized too. You know why I get energized from teaching? Because, and I'll say it a million times over, I am always in such awe and am so humble and grateful that people have entrusted me to share their deepest shit, their hard shit. And I never take that lightly. And am like, gosh, that is so incredible. And I really do, when I'm working and I'm on, I really want to be present for people, because what the hell else am I on this planet for? Because it can't be like food shopping and cooking and cleaning, because I can't be on the planet for that. So in teaching and having people listen, I feel like, oh my God, you're helping me fulfill a purpose, and it feels really good. And I never take it for granted for a second that people are, someone after summer camp wrote to me today and said, you always make me feel safe for sharing. And that to me, like, that is my Oscar award. If I were an actress, you go after that Oscar. That is my Oscar award. Like that, I've created a space where you can feel safe and heard and listen. There's not much you can say to me ever anywhere that would make me go, oh shit, you're fucked up. Because I've either lived it, I am it, I've seen it, I've either been married to it, or I'm related to it through my DNA. So I've been through all of it. I've really been through so freaking much that I get it. I understand it. And my job here is to make you feel normal and in action. That is my other thing, is I like to put people in motion, in action, or keep pulling you along or helping you along. I don't like inaction. When people are constantly complaining, no, it's never going to get better, life sucks, and then there's nothing after that. That's when I can't handle that energy. So you guys make it easy for me to be able to do this work, and I'm literally always so grateful for that. Thank you for asking questions, Laura. Oh my God, Miss Kelly Hoffman, where have you been? I see you there, Creeper Squad President. Sue, thank you for being at camp today. I appreciate that. I'm like Planet Fitness. I'm a judgment-free zone. I love that. I swear, I really am a judgment-free zone though. Like I was telling you, people, I either know their shit and I'm like, they're telling me like, no, Deborah, I've never done that. And I'm in my office. And if you haven't had a reading with me, you'll eventually get one. You'll hear me go, you're lying. That's fine. You don't need to lie about that. This is what it is. So I think that creates a safe space. I was with someone recently in a reading, and I can't remember the whole thing, like just last week, and she had said something, and she was upset with a sibling, and she was doing something deliberately to hurt them. Not hurt them physically, but like to not even hurt them, like poking the bear. She was like poking the bear. And she was like, well, no, I don't mean to do it. And I was like, all right, let's just get real right now. Let's cut the shit. You do mean to do that. You're totally meaning to do that. And she was like, yeah, I am. And that was her, like, that was it. It was like, okay, now we can proceed. I always say the truth is the most healing thing you can give yourself and everyone else, because you can't argue the truth. The truth is the truth. Yes, you have your own truth, but I'm saying that your truth, how you feel, is the truth according to you. So when we tell the truth, that's freeing, and that sets the healing in motion. So I'll be the new Planet Fitness without fitness. Forget the fitness. It'll be spiritual fitness. Someone once said my center is like the spiritual gym. I liked that a lot. Okay, Janine, you can ask another question. Absolutely. Janine is saying, does a loved one watch wake and funeral services? It's not a dumb question at all. It's a great one. So this is going to sound really messed up, but I love wakes. That sounds really messed up. I feel such a heightened sense of community spirituality at wakes, because it's that final moment of people coming together and in the intention of honoring someone who's passed and supporting the family and friends who are grieving. I love them. I think there's so much real, raw human emotion and power in a wake and sadness because we're vulnerable and normally we're not all showing ourselves as vulnerable in life. So I love them for that purpose. And they absolutely can be there and are there present for their funeral and wake. They're not upset either, just to back that up. Sometimes people will say, Deb, I just want to know, is my mom upset? I couldn't afford a service or whatever. And they don't care how they're waked or their services go afterwards because they have crossed over into such a bigger realm that things like that don't matter to them in a negative way by any means. They're honored in a positive way, but they're not like, wow, why didn't they have a wake for me? Why didn't they care? Why didn't they go to my services? They don't think like that. They really don't. Dreams that mean that's more personal intuitive questioning. Personal intuitive questions, Stephanie, is what I'm trying to say. But it's probably the throwing you out or breaking up with you is the same thing in physical form as a death. So it's kind of like you're reliving that death all over again. So yeah, see, it's no such thing as a dumb question either. Yes, Kelly, you might also be the president of the Poking the Bear Club. So you're Creeper Squad president and Poke the Bear Club. Oh my gosh. So what is my opinion on tarot and oracle cards? Good question, Devin. So I don't use them at all because, one, I don't know how to. I don't know what any of the cards mean. Sometimes people will say, Deb, I got a tarot reading and I pulled the blah, blah, blah card. And I'm like, is that good? Is that good? Is everything good then? So I don't know anything. I have a bunch of tarot cards here. My favorite set is an Alice in Wonderland set, only because I love Alice in Wonderland, the book, the story. So I don't use them. And a part of that also is I never wanted to have any tool, anything that like my lucky crystal or my lucky this, or I never wanted to have an object that helped me do a reading because I always would think, well, what if I lost that object, didn't have that object, and I put all my power and belief in that object and I lost it? Would that mean that everything went away? So I don't like any tools outside of myself to do the work for me for that purpose. However, I think the cards speak to some people. I know Nicole, I don't know if I saw Nicole on here, not Nicole R, but my friend Nicole, I just had a reading on my birthday from her friend, and it was a phenomenal reading. And Greg had it too, and she did a whole thing for all of my kids, both of our kids. So I believe in them. I also would more consider the source of who's reading them. My favorite intuitive of all time is a little 86-year-old woman named Midu, Midu, in Los Angeles, California. She doesn't do phone appointments. I begged her once if she could just do a 20-minute reading just because I needed it many years ago. And she doesn't do them, and she did for me. And probably because I send her so many people. She's out in Los Angeles, but I'm like, you've got to go see Midu. She has you drink Albanian coffee, and then she flips it over, and she will read the coffee grinds at the very end. And she uses a regular deck of cards, not even a full deck. And I don't know, her readings are freaking amazing. And they could last 2 hours long. She doesn't stop until she stops. She's amazing. So if you're ever out in Los Angeles area and you want her name and information, you can contact me. But it's the only way she will do a reading. But she's amazing. Oh my God, that's hilarious, Maria. Maria said she's happy the outfit because the outfit she had Nancy buried in was not her. Yeah, she won't be upset with what they're wearing. They'll mention it in readings sometimes, like, what the heck did you do? Or how come you put those shoes on? Or whatever. I've heard that a million times in sessions, but they don't really literally care or get offended. So let's all just pause for a few minutes. We'll kind of come out of this night. We'll do a little meditation. I want to remind you that the work that we've been doing together over the last few weeks is before you go to sleep tonight, I want you to close out your day. So imagine your day as different parts of your day are like browsers that are up on your computer screen of your brain. And I want you to minimize out, X out of all those browsers and put your day to rest. Let today fall away, whether it was a really, really great day or a really, really bad day or a really, really boring day. Just close out your browser and then begin to, settle down for bed. And then tomorrow when you wake up, I want you to plan out your day in your mind ahead of time and see it through before you actually begin your day. So if you're somebody who wakes up really early and has coffee or tea and you ease into your day, great. If you're someone more like me, who as soon as I get up, I just go in the shower and I start my day, it's usually in the shower that I'm, okay, here's what I'm doing. Here's how this is going to feel. I feel my way through the day, which helps me kind of intuitively feel what's coming, even of the things that I'm not aware of. So say as in my shower and I'm feeling my way through my day and all of a sudden I feel like, ooh, 2 o'clock feels sticky, right? Or it feels sticky. Sure enough, at around 1:30 or 2 o'clock, one of my kids will call and say, I missed the bus. I need you to pick me up at school. And I'll go, oh, that's what that stickiness was when I felt my way through the day. So the more you do it, the better you get at it. I can teach you a lot more in intuitive development classes that'll begin up in the fall. Meditation, let's not forget, is Sunday night, online like this or in person at the center at 7 p.m. It's only $10 to join, so you can just show up. There's no reservation. You can bring a friend or come alone. And I think that's it. So let's just close your eyes, or you can keep them open if that's what you prefer. And you could take your Ujjayi breath, which is your Darth Vader sounding breath. You can practice it. Just allow all the thoughts of this day just fall away from you. With every inhale, I want you to be reminded of your present situation right now as you're hearing my voice. When you exhale, let more of the day and everything that came before that breath go. Release it out your mouth. And breathe in right now, which is brand new in a moment we've never seen before. And breathe out everything that came before that breath. And continue to focus in on your breathing as I speak to you for a few more moments. So you're breathing deeply in through your nose and exhaling out your mouth. I want you to be reminded of the good that's in this world. And I want you to be reminded of good that's in your heart, all the stuff that you intend to do. And your intentions go a very long way. So even if there's things you're not physically, mentally, emotionally, or financially capable of doing, your intention put out into the world to do good for someone or something else is powerful. I want you to remember yourself, who you are, that soul, that spirit that was looking for that sense of wonder and awe before you came into physical form. And I want you to reconnect to him or her, and that part of yourself that is aware of all that is still yet to come in your life. Reconnect to the part of yourself that is much bigger than just yourself. Reconnect that you are a part of a community, a global community of energy. No matter what is going on in this moment, this too shall change. So be in gratitude as much as possible for this moment, even carrying grief, sadness, anger, despair, stress. It's all part of this human experience. And just reconnect to the parts of yourself of goodness, wholeness, of love, of power. And see yourself just spreading acts of kindness, big and small, whenever possible and feasible, without any attachment for an outcome. Do good simply because it feels good to do good. And if it doesn't feel good to do good because you can't or you won't, that's fine too. Always check in to what you feel, because what you feel is real. And sometimes we can't feel honest or be able to be honest with others outside of us, but the person that we need to always be honest with is ourselves. That's where all the power and transformation happens. If you're tuning in and still listening, you are a seeker and you are evolving, and only good comes from learning and evolving, even and especially when you don't think it is happening. So my grateful heart goes out to every single one of your hearts. I'm deeply appreciative to be a small part of your journeys. Give yourself a few moments, even after I turn off this broadcast. Just give yourself a few moments of time to just sit and allow all of this to sink in before you jump into the next part of your evening, even if it's bedtime. Give yourself a moment, 2, 3 minutes of just quiet breathing, and send good loving energy out into the world, and the universe will know exactly where to bring that energy and who to bring it to. And also don't forget to be aware of the receptivity of energy that being sent your way. So all of you have a good night, and I will see you next week. Thank you guys. Have a good night.